All right, the saga has finally come to an end. I am being able to decrystallize my honey and get it strained and into 5-gallon buckets. This is David Gilmore, known as LDS Prepper, and to watch over 600 videos on emergency preparedness that could save your lives, including beekeeping, off-grid living, Berkey water filtration, emergency power backup, learning how to grow food as if your life depends on it, and many more, go to ldsprepper.com. As mentioned in a couple previous videos, and I'll link to those below, due to the cold weather and me just being tired of the process of extraction last year, I did not process my honey, so I have crystallized honey. But now I'm going to decrystallize this honey. Initially, I was going to use a propane burner and put it underneath this extraction tank here. And then I decided that's not really a good idea. Didn't want to heat up the metal like that. And so I actually got a 5-gallon bucket water heater. And you can just get this off Amazon. I'll have a link down below to this specific one. There are some that are 2,000 watts, but I don't recommend that because I think it gets the water too hot. Here I have a temperature gauge, so I'm going to put this here in the water, and hopefully you can see what the temperature is. I want the honey to be no more than 110 degrees. The water here is 122, maybe 123 degrees. Looks like 122. And now let's check the temperature of the honey in the 5-gallon bucket. I've kept the strainers inside the honey extractor and the lid closed so that these are also warming up. So when the honey hits this, it's warm and it's not a cold thing and causes the honey to start getting thicker. All right, let's see what the temperature of the honey is. I've been stirring this. In the hive, it's typically around 98 degrees or so. Let me see if I can turn this light on. I want it to be about 110. Perfect, 110 degrees. That's where I want it to be. Always a little tricky doing it by hand with holding the camera, but you can see it worked really well, went right through the filters. There isn't a lot of garbage in here because this has already been pre-filtered, but you can see that some of that, hopefully you can see crystallized honey down at the bottom. I was stirring this in the bucket, but didn't get all of it. But I'll take this out to the apiary and let the bees clean it up. So big success. Highly recommend if you have crystallized honey, do something like this, where if you've got a large pot, I happen to have the honey extractor, and you can put your water heater in there to heat up the water. I put hot water in here from the faucet, put the heater in here. It took about an hour and a half. I was busy doing the other things, so 2 hours by the time I get back to it, and it worked perfectly fine. So I had a couple pieces of 2x4s in here to level the bucket because the center of the honey extractor is kind of an inverted cone shape. Hope this helps. If you've been struggling with a large amount of crystallized honey and you want to make it easy to filter or to uncrystallize it, you may want to consider using this. Well, we finally got this extraction project completed. All I can say, and I'm not getting compensated in any way from FlowHive, is I would have been able to completely avoid all of this with FlowHive from flowhoney.com, because I would have extracted it directly out of the back of the FlowHive and didn't have to have this equipment. I wouldn't have waited a year to process the honey. The honey wouldn't have been crystallized. I could have avoided this big headache altogether with the FlowHive. But I have 2 other videos talking about my review and comparison between the FlowHive and the Lathrop hive, and the cost comparison and savings by buying an authentic Australian-made FlowHive versus buying Lathrop hives. Please check the links below this video to watch those videos. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear.